Here we go. Here we go.
I said, yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Amber. This is Amber's Logic. Got a new video for you today. Green Bay Packers trades, rumors, and news. Before we get into it, you know the spiel. Comment, like, subscribe, and share this electrifying content with the people. Y'all know we're here to talk about the draft this past weekend. What happened with the Green Bay Packers, good, bad, and indifferent. We're going to go over the draft picks. We're going to go over the undrafted signings. We're going to see if what happened. Do we think that we had a good draft? Did we fill needs? We gonna get all into that. I've been promising y'all a Packers pod. Here we go. We gonna get into it. I said we gonna talk about the draft. We here now. Salute the friends and family. Salute the Packers Nation. I'm actually feeling good before we get into all the particulars. I'm actually feeling really good about what the Packers did draft wise and unsigned free agents. I think we really attempted to fill needs for once. We really attempted to fill needs. Salute the Bleacher. I'm gonna tap you in 1 second, bro. You already know Bleacher go heavy on these Packers. He's our on beat reporter. Hey, Bleacher, you the on beat reporter. Bleacher to all the right. Get the likes of Bleacher. Got all the information related Packers. He literally be on site. Salute the Bleacher. No, but I'm actually satisfied with what I saw for the Bucks draft wise. This is probably one of the best drafts that I've seen from the Packers in quite some time as far as addressing needs. I can't say all these players are going to pan out. I don't know if they're going to be Pro Bowlers, none of that. But what I can say, they drafted for need for once. And I think that is a step in the right direction for the Green Bay Packers, the way they drafted. I also want to get into my main man, Tucker Kraft, came back. He looking like a superhero. Tucker Kraft looking like a super. I don't know if y'all seen any recent photos of Tucker Kraft, but he is in the lab. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, he's going to the Pro Bowl this year. 100%. Don't you can book it. I'm telling y'all ahead of time. I saw that look in his eyes. That's what we call, from where I'm from, the eye of the tiger. You don't play when people got that look in their eye. Tucker Kraft got that look. I'm guaranteeing a Pro Bowl performance this season out of Tucker Kraft. I'm telling you right off the rip. I'm also going to say that we'll be running two tight end lineups as well with the emergence of Luke Musgrave while Tucker Kraft was hurt. I do feel like Musgrave is now strong enough where he can block efficiently, where we can run those two tight end sets similar to what New England used to run back in the day. We could become very dynamic if we get some blocking. If our offensive line tightens up, we can really, really, really do some great things, I think, this upcoming year. I'm just very optimistic. The only thing that I think that is holding this team back is Matt LaFleur. I don't care what nobody say. Don't show me no winning percentages. I don't care about none of that. I care about what happens when it's all on the line. And Matt LaFleur has come up short more times than not with all the chips in pushed to the front of the table. So to me, if he does it again this year, he has to be fired. He has to be fired. He's come up short in way too many big moments for me. And to be honest, after what happened last year with the Chicago Bears, he should have been fired right after the game. There's no way you should be re-signed after that type of performance. You were up 21 to whatever, it doesn't even matter, and you lost. You should be fired. In the playoffs against a rival, against our heated rival, crosstown rivals, and you let that happen? Nah, you gotta go. That's the one thing I say that Gutekunst got wrong is re-signing Matt LaFleur. I am not a believer in Matt LaFleur. He can prove me wrong. Friends and family, Packer Nation, y'all can let me know what y'all think. But I still don't think Matt LaFleur is the right coach for this team. He's too mentally weak and he's too soft in my opinion. Very soft. So we'll see what happens, but nonetheless, I am very happy with what we did in the draft and post draft, and they'll just have to see what happens on the field. One of the big things I did like, and we'll get into that, and I'm gonna tap in Bleacher here momentarily, is regarding the backup quarterback that we got undrafted. What's his name? Let me see. Kyron Drones. He seems like he has a lot of upside, a lot of raw talent and athleticism. So That's something that could be molded in the Packer way. As you know, we're quarterback university over here, so we'll get him together. With the loss of Malik Willis, we do need a real backup quarterback. So hopefully this guy can turn into something and mold him along the lines of what we did with Malik Willis. But the things that we really need to discuss and it really needs to be addressed that were just deal breakers for the Packers last year, and I'm sure Bleacher is going to want to address this as well, is the trenches. We have to shore up the trenches. I know we drafted an edge rusher. I know we drafted some defensive linemen, but they got to pan out. I'm tired of all these Luke Van Ness. I'm tired of all these people that are always injured or never available. We need to draft players that are having an impact. I almost feel like the Packers are defensive line is like he's like Giannis per se. You know what I'm saying? Like Giannis will get the ball and all the rest of the players to just watch or get out the way. It's the same thing with Micah Parsons. When they hike the ball, they just watch Micah and then they don't handle their business. We need to get some more aggressive people on this defensive line that are not salsa dancing, that are actually getting pass rush. That's why I was glad that Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary were gone. They weren't doing anything but salsa dancing and line dancing. They weren't trying to get no pressure on the quarterback, period. So I hope these new dudes we got in are going to be able to help Michael Parsons apply pressure to the quarterback. I'm hoping Devontae Wyatt can be healthy. If Devontae Wyatt has another unhealthy year, cut him. If Marshawn Lloyd does not play this year, cut him. I'm tired of these projects. If it's taking you 2-3 years to get healthy, this might not be the sport for you. Get him up out of here. So Marshawn Lloyd on notice. On notice. Get him up out of here. You're not available, get him out of here. Wyatt, you're not available, get him out of here. Trade him or be gone. Whatever, however, got to shake. I'm just keeping it real. Also, like that we got a kicker, and his name is Smack. You better be good. You draft a kicker named Smack. You better be good. you better be legit. You better be legit. But nonetheless, I am definitely hyped and charged of this upcoming season. I do expect big things from the Green Bay Packers. I expect a Pro Bowl season from Jordan Love, and we also need to make it paramount that we keep Jordan Love upright. We have to protect Jordan Love. He's already brittle bone. We gotta keep him together. Oh, we got the whole gang up here. Hold on, let me tap everybody in. Hold on. We got Dr. Smith in here.
Oh yeah.
We got Day Lewis. We got Bleacher. All right, let me get y'all in here. We're gonna talk this draft. We're gonna go over who we drafted and get into it. 1 second, y'all. My screen is a little off here. Give me a second. Tap everybody in. There we go. Hold on. All right, we here to talk some Packers. Hey, we had a solid draft. I think we had a solid draft. Obviously, we don't know how these players are gonna pan out, but I do think we had a solid draft, and we drafted for needs. For the first time in a long time, we drafted for actual needs. I saw a defensive lineman, corner, and I know they got to that cornerback quick. They got to the quarterback. They got to that quarterback quick. Everybody thought we were giving Keyshawn Nixon a hard time. We were giving Valentine a hard time. Oh, they're not as bad as you. Clearly the Packers think so. Clearly the Packers think so. They got to that quarterback fast. Fast.
Can I go first?
Go ahead, Bleacher. Then we gonna go to Dr. Smith and Jay Lewis. Go ahead with your notes.
To the person that was in the comments saying, "Oh, you had Matt LaFleur. What else you want?" Like, he ever said, "I'm gonna read your numbers. Read your numbers." You can talk about the regular season, 76-40-1. Okay, he had a good regular season record. Now let's get to the nitty gritty right here. Let's go to the playoff record. It is 3-6.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
The majority of those games was at home. Let that make sense. And then you want to talk about, why we not trust LaFleur? He's losing to teams that he's friends with. He lost to McVay. He lost to the 49ers. You're too much friends with that. You're not trying to get the current instinct. That's what we're talking about.
Right. That's your dog. I was trying to figure out mine, yours. Who was it? I'm looking. All right, you good? Yeah, I honestly, like I was saying in my little monologue, I still don't think Matt LaFleur is the right coach for this team. I think he's shown ineptitude way too many times in the postseason to be trusted. Like I said, he has another year, so he can redeem himself. But I'm just not a fan of Matt LaFleur. I think we should have moved on. I think the writing was on the wall when you lose to the Chicago Bears, being up 21 points. That's unacceptable. You in a playoff game, and we've done this before. This isn't the first time we've lost like this. Get him out of here. I don't want to go too much in the weeds on Matt LaFleur right now. I want to keep it positive on the draft. Go ahead, Bleacher, then we gonna go to Dr. Smith.
Sorry, dogs are barking on.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
so you're struggling against teams at home. You had high seeds the first couple years when before starting in 2019. You're struggling at home. You shouldn't be struggling at home. You lose to teams that had to get ready for the element that week, and you
That's
still
true.
lose to them. So that's going on. And then you got LaFleur not, and then LaFleur's not. He's not that guy that's going to command guys to lead. You got all this stuff was going on. Play Walker. How many times? How many times he got kicked out the game because he could not get his head in the game, and LaFleur not gonna have race in the game. You know, this is it. This is one more time. This is
I
one
can't
more
even
time.
believe
He's
he got
through.
re-signed, to keep it real. I can't even believe Matt LaFleur got
They
re-signed.
and I'll be like Jeff real quick. The reason why they resigned Matt LaFleur because they couldn't give the coach for the Ravens. They used to be coach of the Ravens last year. They couldn't get him last year.
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh. They wanted to get Harbaugh, but then once Harbaugh signed with the Giants, they said,
Hmm.
"All right, we got that's all we got. Go back to the floor."
That's
But like I
crazy.
said, like you had to be there at the game against the Ravens to see why he had to get fired. I wanted him to get fired. You got grown men getting pushed over. I never seen grown men getting pushed over the way I did when Derrick Henry was going down the field. It was horrible. You thought it was bad watching it on TV? Imagine being there at the game and watching these men get pushed over like that. The
Yeah,
fans
that's
like, why
that's
we here?
crazy. Yeah, that's
So I
like I
stopped for
said. I'm
Dr.
not.
O'Neill.
I'm not a fan of Matt LaFleur, but I am a fan of Gutekunst and what he did in this draft. I'm definitely a fan of that. I just want to go over these draft picks, then we'll go to you, Dr. Smith, and what your
Yeah.
thoughts. So, the actual 2026 draft class, round 2, 52, Brandon Sisse, the cornerback from South Carolina. Great pickup, great measurables, great intangibles. Round 3, 77, Chris McClellan,
Christmas.
defensive lineman. He's a little bit of a project, but he has a high ceiling. I think
Yeah, that's
McClellan.
living.
He has a high ceiling, very high ceiling, and I think Danny Dennis Sutton, good measurables. I think he's going. I think he might be. I think he could have probably gone earlier in the draft, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I don't want to call it a
Wait.
steal, but I say
I'll
very
wait.
value pick. I think that's a value pick for getting him in the 4th round. I think that's a value pick. And then obviously we needed to address the offensive line. Yeager Burden, offensive line, Kentucky, solid multiple year starter. Not mad at that. And then getting a cornerback, another cornerback from the SEC, Alabama, Damani Jackson. I love getting players from the SEC. I already know that you're pretty much NFL ready. For the
Yeah.
most part, you're NFL ready if you playing in the SEC for the most part, or Big Ten, or Big Ten. You playing the elite of the elite, and also finally and then drafting the kicker. I thought that was telling for the in the 6th round getting Trey Smack the kicker. But the kicker been suspect. All I'm saying is, as much as we talk about the Packers, we have to give them credit. They finally listened. It's almost like they went through all the comments on all the blogs. It's like, okay, and they drafted everything we could have wanted. Like I said, we don't know what these players are gonna be, but we at least drafted for all the needs. And then on top of that, we got the undrafted free agent. We got Kyron Drones, a quarterback for Virginia Tech, all types of athleticism. We got T.J. Quinn, linebacker, Louisville. Josh Geske, guard, Illinois. Jay Nixon, a running back. I do think we needed to get a running back because I don't trust Marshawn Lloyd. I'm off the Marshawn Lloyd bandwagon. If he can't get healthy this year, get him out of town. I'm cool on it.
Well,
I'm
they
cool.
signed
And
Josh
Mervyn Kenyon,
Bus.
the third, Nevada. We got another safety, another offensive lineman, defensive end, wide receiver, and tight end. I'm not mad at this at all. I'm gonna let you get into it, Dr. Smith. Then we gonna go to Jay Lewis. On you, Dr. Smith.
Oh,
All right. Chat, panel, salute. You
Salute.
know, I've been itching
All
to
right.
talk Packers for a minute. I've been consuming a lot of Packer content here lately, right? Let me let me first offer maybe a different perspective when it comes to Matt LaFleur, right?
oh yeah.
None of us were happy with Matt LaFleur at
Right.
the end of the year. That was the most that he's ever been in jeopardy of losing his job. I will say that I probably come at it from a different side of it. I am glad that he kept his job, and let me tell you why. Not because anyone was happy with that. You lose 2 leads against the worst
Yes.
fan base in the league, and we have to eat it for the entire offseason. That alone and of itself should be a fireable offense, right? But A, I don't know. I know that they weren't going to get John Harbaugh. I know that, right? B, not the owner, the president, Ed Policy. I listened to an interview that he put out explaining his decision, right? Because again, this is probably the most in jeopardy that Matt LaFleur has ever been in. And what Ed Policy said made sense, right? Matt LaFleur overall is a winning coach. He hasn't won in the key moments. He hasn't won in the playoffs. Ultimately, that's what matters the most. But if you're going to move on from someone, then you have to ask yourself, who are you bringing in? This is the
Correct.
Doc Rivers, right?
Exactly.
This is the conversation that we were always talking about
I'll
when it comes
say
to the
one thing.
Milwaukee Bucks.
One thing
Go
to you
ahead.
though. Sorry, I mean, if
Please.
if he keeps not winning, he's gonna turn to Mari Schottenheimer if this keeps up.
Wow. Wow.
Again, though, and I'm not defending Matt LaFleur after what we saw.
All right.
I definitely needed to be away from remote controls because back in the olden days, I was quick to launch a remote control across the room. So I definitely needed to stay away from that, right? But again, it is the question of we can move on from someone, but then we adopt the Milwaukee Bucks plan of action where we fire someone without having someone in mind that we're
Yeah,
going to
true.
get. We just
Right.
fire someone emotionally. And I don't
Exactly.
think you do, right? This ties into why we got Trey Smack. Give me 2 seconds to cook, right?
Go, take your time.
The reason why I like this is that if you're going to keep someone like Matt LaFleur, when Matt LaFleur knows better than anyone else how in jeopardy he was of losing his job. Even if we don't have a contingency plan, that's how close we were to getting fired. That's how pissed off the Packer Nation was. I think he is going to come back. He and the team are going to come back foaming at the mouth.
They
Ready
better.
to,
They should be. I agree with. They should be.
right. And now you're in my frame of thought, right? I don't know if you guys remember the San Antonio Spurs, the year that they lost to the Miami Heat, when the Miami Heat essentially Chicago bared us, right? They had the game won, they had the game in mind, and then Ray Allen hits the greatest shot that I've ever seen in a game where he stepped back behind the 3-point line, didn't even see what the 3-point line was, shot, hit the three, keeps them in the series. Miami goes on to win. That was essentially the football version of what Chicago did to us. Did you guys see the focus that San Antonio had the entire season? They weren't
Oh,
even
yeah.
looking at regular games anymore. I have this feeling that the Packers are on that type of time.
I hope so. I like that.
Notice all the moves that got
They
made,
should
right?
be.
All the things that we said. Rashawn Gary, thank you for everything that you've done for us. We're good. Right? They started moving up. Quay Walker, thanks for everything that you've done for us. We're good.
I just want to pause 1 second. People were going in on us about talking about Quay Walker all season, Dr. Smith. We're
Yeah,
wrong.
okay.
Tape
Was I
don't
on the
lie.
panels? I take all comments. Sit here and give me a conversation about Quay. I dare you. I double dare you, right?
But they were in the chat. I'm telling you, when we were talking, going in on Quay Walker, look at his speed, look at his tackling. I'm like, y'all not watching the game. Y'all looking at post-game stats. Because if you watching the game, you could see Quay Walker was holding his back. No disrespect. He does have talent. It's between the ears is really his problem. Nonetheless, we needed to move on from Quay Walker. But go ahead, Dr. Smith.
Well, I mean, just real quick on Quay Walker, I'll give him the best that I could give him, right? Because he wasn't a terrible player.
Right.
He wasn't. I'm not going to say that, right? He wasn't like how I feel about Keyshawn Nixon and Karen.
Correct. Yeah, that's fair.
Those were the worst players on the field, right? I didn't feel that way about Quay Walker. I just felt like, yeah, he had that processing problem. And just like keep this in mind, right? Quay Walker had a faster 40 time than Edgerrin Cooper. Not by much, by like a smidgen, but who plays faster? It's not even a question.
Right.
Edgerrin Cooper seek and destroy. Bang! It's like a
Bam.
bullet. It's like a heat-seeking missile. Quay Walker is just too much indecision.
I agree.
This will lead to another a point that I'm going to make about Zaire Franklin right at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to remain consistent on it throughout the season, regardless of the results. Right? Um, I don't like indecision. I don't like that pause and deer in the headlights and oh, that's where the play is and go. Right? There's not enough decision with Quay Walker. We'll get back to that. Right?
Mm.
They moved on. The greater point that I'm trying to make, without rambling, is that they were moving on from the decisions the poor players on the team that weren't performing. Not even necessarily the poor players, but the guys who weren't performing.
I
They
agree.
haven't moved on yet from Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine, but you saw what happened in the draft, right? First person that we drafted, Brandon Cisse. You know, I'm not even looking at a list. That's how locked in I've been with the Packers picks.
Mm.
Brandon Cisse, Chris McClellan,
Mm.
right? Deny Dennis Sutton's my
Mm.
favorite pick in years now for this team for when we
Mm-hmm.
got him. Jacob Burton, Thamani Jackson, Trey Smack, right? We got two corners
Mm-hmm.
in this draft, and we signed one in the offseason in Benjamin St. Jude's. That's your writing on the wall. The minute that we can move on from Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine, those guys are gone.
I think some of them offensive linemen better get their act together too.
Well, that's the thing,
AKA
right? So
Aaron Banks.
Right.
the thing that I'm worried about, not even worried about, right? The thing that I have slight trepidation about is that they didn't do anything about the offensive line. That to me was uh, outside of the cornerbacks, they were the poorest performing
Agreed.
unit on the field. I'll never forget that in a playoff game against the Bears, when we had the ball on the Bears 3-yard line,
Oh my God.
right? This
couldn't
should have
run
been a Marshawn Lynch moment, right? You have a power running back in Josh Jacobs. Hand him the ball and celebrate your 7 points. That's what it should be. It's an automatic touchdown if you're that close. Josh Jacobs can lean and get the touchdown. And we had an offensive line that could not punch him in. And behind that offensive line, we decided to go with those guys again. Now, what the Packers are stating in the moves that they've made is that they believe that the talent is there. That the problem was that they were playing guys out of position, and that this year they're going to start with the lineup that they should have had the entire time. The problem was with depth, right? And so when guys start getting injured, instead of saying, all right, well, you know, Roz, come up off the bench, our right guard is down, you're the backup right guard, go in. Instead of doing that, they decided to do this musical chairs garbage, where they started taking their established starters and then playing them out of
Mm.
position, and then realizing that, oh, okay, this was a terrible idea.
It's
And
not
because we
bad.
wasted so
Mm.
much time in training camp trying to cross-train you guys, instead of letting you actually master your craft,
Facts.
when the bullets really
Playing
started
actual
flying and we really started going up against really good defensive lines, we had no answers, right? So you go up against a Cleveland defensive line. Everyone laughs at the Cleveland Browns. They're a doo-doo team, yes, right? But the one thing that they really have going for them is that their defensive line is one of the best in the NFL,
Agreed.
easily. As soon as we went up against some real competition, we folded. Jordan, run! Remember that? We
Right.
folded.
He's no
So
longer on the
they're
team.
they're
That person's no
they're
longer on the team that said that.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
that's
out of here. So that's the thing, right? Their answer to that is to actually start the guys in their proper positions. It's an already established offensive line right from Jump Street. This is your unit. And if that's the case, what I want my offensive linemen to be doing right now as we speak is they're over each other's houses and you're already starting.
facts.
Right? This is what you're already starting. Whatever it is you need to do not wait until the off-season program starts to get together and start working. Because if that's the case, then you're already behind the 8 ball. Matthew Golden, if you haven't gone out to California and started working with Jordan Love, you're already behind the 8 ball.
I've been seeing
Mm.
him work.
Period, point blank, right? What I loved about this draft is that you're already handcuffed because you have less picks.
Right.
Right? You trade for Michael Parsons, and that's a trade that you make 10 times out of 10. but now you lack the pieces the next year. So you're already kind of like behind the eight ball as far as that's
Agreed.
concerned. And you can argue that Brian Gutekunst this draft did more with less. First pick. Let's just talk about some of these guys real quick. I'm not going to dribble. I promise you I'm not going to dribble
No,
them
no,
out
go ahead.
of the ball.
Bro, go ahead.
Brandon Cisse ran a 4.4 40-yard dash, right? He's not the guy who's going to get a ton of interceptions. So in that way, he's very similar to Keyshawn Nixon, but he will fight that ball out of your hand, and he's smart. Anytime you having interviews with Richard Sherman and you're talking about the X's and O's of football, and you have one of the smartest cornerbacks that we've seen
Right.
in this generation who says, I need to talk to you because I see something in you, that's a guy that I want on my team.
Facts.
That's Brandon Cisse, right? You got Chris McClellan, who is a bit of a project. He's 13 pounds. I like that for a nose tackle, but I would like him to be a little bit bigger, right? I would like a nose tackle to be like 330.
30, yep.
Me
340,
personally, right?
yep.
It helps
330.
you to anchor a little bit more. And that's
Yep.
apparently his issue. For someone who's 313, he only put that rack up. Like he benched only 25 times. I need it over 30 times. I need you to be one of the strongest
You should be.
people on
Offensive
the
lineman
team.
should be one of the strongest people on the team. I agree with
Right.
you there.
But what they liked in him is that he's
11-inch
not just
hands.
enough. Say again?
11-inch hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And big bear
Mitts.
mitts, right? And he's not just a nose tackle. He's a nose tackle that could rush the quarterback. This is their argument of Chris McClellan over Dominic Orange, right? This is going to be the comparison because McClellan went right in front of Big Citrus, and there's a lot of people who wanted Big Citrus. Now, there are people who will argue that Big Citrus is just a nose tackle. I don't know if I agree with that, but I think I think McClellan is definitely better at passing or rushing the passer than McClellan, right?
I agree with that.
Than Orange, right? And
But
that's
he's not
what
as
they
stout. But he's not as stout in the run though.
Right. Now, here's my thing. All I wanted was someone that can absorb something so that Javon Hargrave doesn't have to play nose tackle, that he could play his right position. At that point,
Right.
you're a force multiplier, right? Javon Hargrave, if you're going to pay money for him, then have him do what he does best, which is to rush as a 3 technique. And now look at that pass rush, because we're going to get to deny Dennis Sutton, right? You got Michael Parsons when he comes back. You got Devontae Wyatt. You got Chris McClellan, who can rush the passer. You got Javon Hargrave, who can rush the passer. And then on the other side,
we even might get some of Luke Van Ness. He was playing well till he got hurt. Maybe we get something out of Luke Van Ness this year if he could stay healthy.
I hope so. I'm still a little lukewarm on him, but if I'm giving him his props, good.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
He was talking about.
Say again?
Ed Oliver.
Colin Oliver. Colin Oliver. Yeah. So I mean, we got I'm a little lukewarm on LVM, but if I'm giving him his props, LVM was playing well at the very beginning of last year. It was the first time that he really looked good to me in a Green Bay uniform. And of course, because that's the way the movie went, that's of course when he got hurt. He came back, he really wasn't the same. So I don't know, right, with him. He's a question mark. I hope that he comes back and he's ready to take somebody's head off. That'd be great. You got Baron Sorrell, you got Colin Oliver, and now you went and you got denied Dennis Sutton. Let me tell you about denied Dennis Sutton in the 4th round, who could have gone in the 2nd round. They were saying, Green Bay was saying that they were trying to trade up to get denied Dennis Sutton, or they were thinking about picking him in the 2nd round. And they got him in the 4th round, which allows you to get the other pieces that you needed. This is someone who's played behind Chop Robinson. This is someone who's played behind the other dude who went to the Giants. Oh shoot.
I know. Carter. No.
Carter. He played alongside Abdul Carter. When he played alongside Abdul Carter, there was a point in the season where he had more pressures than Abdul Carter. And now you're coming to a team to play with the other Pro Bowl pass rusher from Penn State, the best of them all, right. Micah Parsons. If you think Micah Parsons was quick to get Colin Oliver and Baron Sorrell in-house to start working on the pass rush, I bet you it was him who picked up or who's going to pick up denied Dennis Sutton from the airport.
I agree with that.
That's my school too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it going, right? You went out and you got Jacob Burton. Jacob Burton has that versatility across the line as a backup, right? He's played center. He can also play left guard. and right guard. What I want my offensive line to stop doing is for my starters to be playing 8 different positions. Go out and
Right.
get yourself
Yes.
a backup that can do that for you, so that if somebody gets hurt, I don't have to take Jordan Morgan from the left tackle position to go play right guard. That's what your job is, Jacob.
Right.
Also, we're getting Jacob Monk back. Also, we're getting John Williams back. So that depth that we had, or that we were supposed to have on the offensive line, we're getting back now. Let me continue. We will go out and we get ourselves a Damani Jackson. Damani Jackson also ran a 4.4 40-yard dash, right? Now, of those guys, his IQ is the most in need of work, right? Now, we are talking to a team that had to sit and watch Keyshawn Nixon all year. So in that, I don't know how buzzing I am about that, right? But what I do like about Damani Jackson is that when it comes to tackling, he will put you on the ground. He will put you on the ground. So will Brandon Cisse, for that matter, right? These guys will come up and put you on they're good tacklers, right? And last but not least, you get Trey Smack. Let me tell you something, because there's a lot of people who were complaining about how we got Trey Smack. We had to give up 2 pieces, 2 picks to go up and get a kicker. Or a kicker, we have a kicker in Brandon McManus who missed 3 kicks in a playoff game. 3, count them. 1, 2, 3. You want to talk about people you were pissed off at behind the game, and we're talking about Matt LaFleur. You had a kicker who has 1 job on this team, and he missed 3 kicks in a playoff game, 2 field goals and an extra point. That's 7 points we left on the field. We lost by less than 7 points.
And let's not talk about the games. Obviously, it's not all on him, but the games that were lost on his foot during the regular season as well.
Cleveland. I believe he missed it. So I remember, like I said, I'm probably more locked into football than I am basketball. This is my favorite sport. 1A, 1B, whatever. Right. My point is this, right? Everyone that performed subpar, mediocre, poorly, all got their notices in the mail. Because you go out and you make a move like getting Micah Parsons. We are in a win now mode. So what I love about Gutekunst, right? And Milwaukee's GM, please go up there and shadow Gutekunst for like a month, right? Please, please, right? Is that we went out and we addressed. I'm tired of the Packer fans who say, "Oh, we just draft the best available player." That doesn't make sense. We've never done that, right? You've always drafted best available player at a position of need, and this time, this is what we went and we got, and we were patient, and there was some luck there, definitely, because Denai Dennis Sutton was not supposed to be there in the 4th round.
I was shocked when everybody was shocked when he was still there on the board.
We all were, and I'm telling you that the upside that this dude has, I love it. I love this draft. I don't think we're done making moves, but I love that we're winning intact. That's all. I don't want to, like I said, I gotta hit
hey, you spit. No. Get them likes. So you was spitting. Jay Lewis, without further ado, it's on you. Right. You was cooking, Dr. Smith. On you, Jay Lewis.
Yeah. I don't even know what else to say. Dr.
Oh,
Smith,
you on mute, bro.
Everything.
Jay Lewis, you on mute.
I heard him.
You hear me?
There you go.
I heard. Yeah.
I still don't hear you. I'm gonna tap you out. Tap back in. All right, I'm gonna tap you back in. Hold on, let me move you around. Hold on 1 second, Bleacher. All right, tap back in, Jay Lewis. Hold on 1 second. Let me move these screens around. All right, there we go. So another person I want to get into that wasn't mentioned yet. My boy Tucker Kraft look like he coming back on a mission. My boy done went with the buzz cut, the new tats. He looked like he put on about 10, 15 pounds of muscle. He ain't smiled yet. I ain't seen him smile yet. In no photo. I ain't seen him smile yet.
Hey.
For me, it's I don't worry about him. I didn't worry about Tucker Kraft. I didn't worry about him last year. My biggest thing is that it was a knee injury, right? It's an ACL, right? Those things, I've tore my ACL twice. And my fear, and it's the same thing with Micah Parsons, is that I have to see that against someone pushing back, right? It's one thing to run in a straight line and to be able to pivot, and all of that is cool, right? But Tucker Kraft especially those guys. You're pushing against people. You're pushing against other, mammoth human beings, grown men who are trying to push back, and a lot of that pressure, gets put on your knees, a newly surgically repaired knee, right? So my biggest thing is to make sure that there are no leg days missed, right? To make sure that we're doing everything that we can so that we're not going to put you in jeopardy of losing it again, right? It's not the same as like Christian Watson, for example, coming back. Christian Watson doesn't have to push against people the same way that Tucker Kraft does. Right? Remember, we don't have a fullback on the team.
Correct.
A lot of our blocking down the field, the first block's Tucker Kraft. Like we have blocking tight ends, which means you're going to have to take on a lot of the bigger, stronger, more violent players. Now, this is what he did well. This is what Luke Musgrave didn't do well, which is why Luke Musgrave might be getting his walking papers here pretty quick, too. Especially if, being honest, if we can go out and get someone like an Njoku, then I don't know why we keep Luke Musgrave after that. I doubt that happens. I don't know, but
I've seen him on the radar though, for us. I've definitely seen it on the radar. But Jay Lewis, let's get to you, bro. There, your audio good now. Go ahead, Jay Lewis.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. I was saying earlier that I don't even know what else to say because Dr. Smith already said everything. So it's just like, I was like, man, he did said things about the draft that he did already put everything out there. So it's just, I mean, I was just listening for the most part, but
Dr. Smith was cooking. Hey, he was cooking. Hey, that was classic material, right? He should have put a chef hat on, low key. He should have put a chef hat on.
He said everything that I already wanted to say. I'm like, man,
but are you optimistic though for this season, Jay Lewis? Are you optimistic after the draft? Does it make you feel better about the direction of the team?
Well, I enjoyed the draft. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, like everybody was saying. It's all about staying healthy, and like Dr. Smith was saying earlier about the offensive line, we can't be musical chairs with these guys. They got to have some type of some type of consistency with where they're playing.
Right.
That's why didn't nobody know what they was doing last season because we put Elton Jenkins from guard to center.
Yeah, all this foolishness.
And then you got Jordan Morgan playing on the right guard, and then all of a sudden now wait for what's the guy we don't have anymore, the left tackle?
Was it Banks?
Walker.
Walker.
Yeah. So he got to take his spot for a while, and now all of a sudden he looks better than he was before the season started, like during the season, because they had him out of place. So I'm hoping that we're gonna have some consistency on that line, and we ain't got to worry about Jordan Love being laid out in a Chicago Bears game from a cheap hit, while the offensive line looking clueless and looking down at him.
I just think people playing at their natural position is going to shore up a lot of stuff. The Packers try to get too cute sometimes. They want their offensive linemen to be able to play multiple positions.
They all about
versatility, and I get that, but that comes at a cost. Yeah, that comes at a cost, though. Well, you know what I'm saying?
That's part of the reason why they chose Chris McCullough over Orange, because of his versatility.
Versatility, right? I think honestly, it's not a bad strategy. It's just something that you do once you know that you have the basics down. And I think if I were to have a conversation with Matt LaFleur, I appreciate the attempt at four-dimensional chess. You have to be able to outsmart your opponent, right? But you graduate to those levels of strategy once you know you have the basics down. And to me, it seemed like we were putting the cart ahead of the horse.
Correct.
And we tried to play that fourth-dimensional chess when we didn't have the basics down. And so very basic things we were showing ourselves not to be able to do, and we're trying to do all these complex things. You can move your offensive linemen around once they've shown that they are competent doing that, and they just weren't. But I also, like, at first, I don't think we were in a spot where we didn't really have a ton of choice either, right? Because we did start to get a lot of injuries, right? It was Aaron Banks injured for a while, right? Elton Jenkins got injured. Zach Tom got injured. That's three of your starters. Right? Those three, you only got 5 linemen, right? And those 3 of them who were injured all at one time at a certain point, in addition to Jacob Monk and John Williams, who was supposed to be your backup. So that's
Right.
5 linemen went down, right? So now you
Right.
are having to kind of do the whole chopping thing. So a big part of that, I think, was injuries and guys having to go in and they weren't fully solid in the positions that they were asked to play. Additionally, you had someone like a Rasheed Walker who was just mid the entire season. Just very mediocre, right? Just very bland, just very ham sandwich, no mayonnaise, no nothing.
That's why it took so long for him to get signed somewhere.
Yeah, he was just like real.
And he only got 1 year. Somebody signed him for 1 year. He didn't get like a 3-4 year contract. He only got signed for 1 year.
I agree with J. Cole here.
Yeah, salute J. Cole. Yeah.
So my thing is that I was a little upset because I don't know fully if Jordan Morgan didn't. Morgan? Go ahead.
No, I was reading his comment. I think Orange is better at rushing the passer, but he's worse at stopping the run than McClellan. I think he had it backwards. I think Chris McClellan is a good run stopper, and Orange was the better at rushing the passer, but he couldn't stop the run.
I don't know about that.
I think it's reverse. I think it's reverse. Jay Lewis. I think it's reverse.
But I think the difference
I think it's reverse.
I think the difference between them is that Dominic Orange was looked at as solely a run stopper,
right?
Whereas McClellan can give you some of both, so that he has more variety, right? There are some people who argue that Dominic Orange should be given more credit to be able to rush the passer than he is, and that you might not have seen that quite as much because his team didn't have him doing that quite as much. But it's not that he couldn't do it. There were times when he's shown it, but his team didn't ask him to do that. And so if you're looking at his tape, it seems like he's solely like a run blocker, whereas or run defender. Whereas some people say run stopper, Whereas some people would say, but if you asked him to go and rush the quarterback, he probably could do that. That is the argument. Here's my thing with McClellan though. I would like McClellan to sink a little bit more. He's big. He's a mammoth human being, right? He's very much like Jordan. I'm forgetting his last name. He plays for Philadelphia. Very tall, big, mammoth guys, right? Jordan
Davis,
right? The only problem that you sometimes get with really tall people is that, to me, football is like wrestling. It's like a game of leverage, right? And the lower man wins, right? And so even if you are big and mammoth and strong, sometimes if someone has comparable strength and they get up under you, they could forklift you, get up out the way. What Mike Daniels was good at, right? Was because he was so short. Mike Daniels, same height as me, but he's so big and strong, like he can get up under you and get up out of here, you know what I mean?
Shout out to Mike Daniels. Good. Hey, I forgot all about Mike Daniels.
Yeah. Like the bowling ball types, right? You know what I mean? Like the guys that get up under you and just get up out of here,
Use that lower.
Say again?
No, I said use that lower body and use their own weight against them. That's how you get them off.
Yeah.
Yes. So McClellan, I think the lore I think of McClellan, right, is that. All right. So first of all, if we're switching to a 3-4, and before I even say that, can we at some point hear from our new defensive coordinator? Is he ever going to show up and say something?
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, all these
we had a whole
players
draft
that we got out of the draft. I was hoping that we was gonna hear from him.
Yeah, I've seen Matt LaFleur 3, 4, 5 times. As you should. He's the head coach, right? But Brian Gutekunst is we haven't seen this dude at all. Are you alive? Did something happen?
Are you safe? Are you safe? Are you safe?
Shoot up a flare, brother. We just got you a whole bunch of pieces. Show up and talk to the people. You know what I mean? We want to hear from
Wisconsin GMs like to stay out the. They like to stay out the way. These Wisconsin GMs for all these professional teams. You don't ever see it. For the Brewers, the same way. You don't ever see none of these cats. Never see them. Yeah. Never see them.
But
I do
Yeah,
think
so
when it gets closer to like the preseason, I think he might say something. I think right now I saw somebody in the
And
chat. I think
I
they're
hope it don't take
evaluating.
that.
They're gonna take time to evaluate this talent before saying too much. I feel like
I hope it
the
don't take that.
Packers are a very deliberate team. I feel like they're very deliberate in the way they
I,
approach
I
things.
do. I do. I think more than I think conventional wisdom is that if you go out and you get a McClellan, you are not locking yourself into strictly a 3-4, right? Because he
Right.
could play 3 as well. However, I do think we're going to a 3-4 defense. But again, take that with a grain of salt, right? Because more often than not, you're going to be in your nickel and your dime packages anyway,
Exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like how you probably should be looking at football, right? But you very rarely are you going to be in your base packages. It's usually to
Correct.
start the game. It's usually to start drives or whatever the case may be. I still think nose tackle is important, even if the nose tackle comes off the field very often when you go into those nickel and dime packages. But to me, nose tackles are like kickers in that you may feel like you don't need them a whole lot until you do, until
Right.
Baltimore comes and runs all over you, right?
Right.
Derrick
Right.
Henry was backwards through our
Yeah.
defensive line. He was just doing like he was stopping
Yeah.
and doing TikToks through our defensive line. That's how open it was, right? Or Chicago, who we have to play twice, who very low key
Yeah.
has a good running game. That is the
Correct.
strength of their offense. That dude with the African name, whose name I can't think of right
Mm-hmm.
now,
Well, they
that
got
dude is
two.
a problem.
They
Right.
got
Kyle,
two running.
Two. Both the running
Two
backs,
running.
Swift and him. Yeah.
Both the running backs
But
get on.
but you know what I'm talking about. I'm struggling to
Yeah,
remember his name.
Manungai, something like that.
Young
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
That dude is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh
dude is
yeah.
a problem, right? So we need to figure that part out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Because if he's able to run like that, then he unlocks, in my opinion, their offense. So you have to
Okay.
be able to stop it, right? My point is this, right? Is that I think that is what McClellan gives you is that you can switch from a 3-4 to a 4-3 to suit what the opponent is giving you.
Totally.
Because I do think that those different defenses give you different strengths, right? We still have, for example, Isaiah McDuffie, who is a 4-3 linebacker, right? In a 3-4, he comes off the field. In a 3-4, you're gonna have Michael Parsons and whomever is opposite of him on the other side, whether it's LVN or Denine Dennis Sutton or Colin Oliver or whoever, right? That's gonna be your
Correct.
outside, and in the middle you'd have Edgerrin Cooper and Zaire Franklin. In a 4-3, you'd have 4 down linemen, and McDuffie probably comes on the field. And in your nickel and dime packages, either one of those guys drops off, and then you get Javon Bullitt on your field as your slot corner and whatnot, right? And so it just depends. And I think that's the place you want to arrive to strategically. You don't want to just say, all right, well, this is all we're ever going to run, and if another team uh, figures out a way to beat us, then it is what it is. I think you do want to arrive to a place where you're like Bill Belichick, where you don't play one strategy, you play your opponent. And
Right.
whatever your opponent does, we have answers to take that away. We're going to face some drastically different offenses. We need to have different plans of action.
Right.
That means that everyone needs to have a high IQ, and everyone needs to be able to switch, which is why I do like the versatility that someone like a McClellan can give you. He can go
Right.
from a 3 technique to a
Right.
nose tackle. That would be my argument for McClellan over Orange, but he's not a finished product. You
Well,
have to be able to
I
say
still
again.
would have took him over Orange.
Yeah,
I still
I think there are definitely a lot of people who are coming to that, especially when you see him get up the field and rush the quarterback. Even if we're making the argument that Dominic Orange rushes the quarterback better than we're giving him credit for, he still doesn't do it better than McClellan.
Correct.
Right.
McClellan is almost like 50-50. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? As a nose tackle, it's to the point now where I'm saying McClellan, I would, as much as I like that, I would like you to anchor a little bit more, which is why I wouldn't be opposed to going out and getting like a veteran nose tackle just to have in the wheelhouse, so that if McClellan is not ready 100% right now, we're still not asked out. I would be in
Right.
favor of still going and getting a TJ Slayton or a DJ Reader just to have in the
Is he
back
still not
pocket.
signed yet? Is he still
Neither
not
one
signed?
of them is signed yet, right? So remember when we got Dexter Lawrence, or we didn't get Dexter Lawrence, but we wanted Dexter Lawrence. I know some people did. I did. I did. I'm raising my hand, right? But Dexter Lawrence goes to Cincinnati. Dexter Lawrence going into Cincinnati means that TJ Slayton may be out in the cold, right?
Hold
I
on.
don't know. So if that's the case, then come back
June
home
1st
to Green
pick.
Bay. shouldn't have let you
First
go
cut.
in the first place. Right? Because
Okay.
when we lose Kenny Clark, we also lost TJ Slayton, and that was a big part of our inability to stop the run, right? Let's take a history lesson. Now, we did get Kobe Wooden to gain weight, and Kobe Wooden did play well for us for a time, but Kobe Wooden wore down over the
Correct.
season.
I
And
thought he was getting
so,
bullied.
you know what I mean?
Ravens game, he was getting bullied. I was seeing him getting pushed every other play.
Every one of them. That's why I'm not
Everybody
super,
on defense was getting bullied.
Yeah, all of us. That's why I'm looking at J. Cole's comment where he said, "I hate to say it, bro, but I think we're sticking with Stackhouse and Ford." I'm not excited about that at all because both of those guys were on the roster when, like I said, Baltimore was running back through our
Right.
minds.
I'm not a big fan of Ford, to be honest, at all.
No. Well, there's a reason
Jonathan Ford
still
has struggled to get on the team, to stay on the team, right?
Right.
Like we cut him, or we'll put him on the practice squad. Then Chicago picked him up. Then Chicago cut him. Like it's a struggle. Look, if you're in a Green Bay uniform, ultimately, I hope that all of these guys who struggle take a step forward because that means
we're better.
That's to the benefit of the Packers. But hoping is not a plan. And I saw what they looked like. And they were way behind where I need them to be. For me to be happy about having you on the field. This is the argument about Marshawn Lloyd. We all hope that he can get on the field because the man is a magician when he's on the field. But hope is not a plan. 2 straight years where he's on the sideline next to Giannis in the olive green tracksuit. Like it's getting like tiring seeing that. Right? And so if there's one thing that I would be worried about, maybe, is about Marshawn Lloyd in that olive green tracksuit next to Giannis and Thanasis. If he can play, I'm good.
Right.
That's a big if, but you can't address everything.
I just want to say I still stand with Emmanuel Wilson. I think he is a solid backup running back.
And he'll do well in Seattle.
He's gone.
He'll do well in Seattle. Yeah, he's gone.
Damn.
He's gone. He's on the roster. He was one of the first guys to go.
He signed with another team long time ago.
This is why people were talking about Mike Washington Jr.
Our number two is Chris Brooks right now.
That's not gonna do it. I must have missed that because Wilson, my boy. Damn, man, I feel it.
Right
like
now,
Brooks he's very mid. He's below mid to be. I think he's a below average running back.
Well, they kept him for the protection.
Right.
They didn't keep him to necessarily run the ball.
That's where he
shined. They kept him to block. He's the best blocking running back that we have.
Okay.
He's the best one that we have.
Josh Jacobs.
So we need Marshawn Lloyd then. If Wilson gone, or unless one of these rookie running backs do something. So the pressure's on Marshawn Lloyd. Hey, Lloyd, get it together. Drink some milk. Take some sea moss. Some sour sop. Take it all. Take it all. We need you back healthy.
Yeah.
Take it all. Take it all. Black seed oil. Take it all.
Did y'all hear anything about Josh Jacobs' brother being invited to the camp?
I just said that. He got invited.
Josh Jacobs' brother.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's stranger things have happened. I don't know.
It's not looking good in the backfield right now.
He got so much on the back in front of him.
We got to get a running back. I'd rather we get somebody seasoned.
To that,
Go ahead, Dustman.
We have guys. We have a stable of guys, right? There's some guys that we didn't see last year because they only go with 4 running backs, right? And so last year, on the roster, you had Jacobs, you had Wilson, you had Chris Brooks, and then you technically have Marshawn Lloyd, right? Now Wilson is going to greener pastures. He goes up and he plays for Seattle, right? Salute to him. That's what he's supposed to do because they're not going to pay him the money because that's the other thing, right?
They should have played.
Green Bay had to make financial decisions, right? There's some big money guys that we have to to pay, right? We just re-signed Jaden Reed, and Jaden Reed gave us a discount. Shot Jaden Reed doing the Tom Brady thing, right? Because Jaden Reed could have asked for more money. That is a story. That's a thing.
Watson. We re-signed Watson. We re-signed Watson.
We didn't we did last year. But Watson is going. What we're going to need is an extension.
He's got one of those prove it deals like they gave Jordan Love when they didn't get the fifth year option on him. They just gave him that
Yeah.
extended contract. Like, prove it to me, and
Okay.
then we'll pay you.
And
That's
then
what
he
Christian
did.
Watson.
And then he
Yeah.
did. So now he's
Right.
going to be like, now pay me. I did what I was
Right.
supposed to do. Pay me. And if Green Bay is
Right.
smart, they're going to re-sign him, right? So
Right.
that's
Right.
money that you have to pay. Tucker Kraft
You definitely
absolutely is money that you
Tucker
have
Kraft.
to
Right.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Devontae Wyatt, they have to make a decision whether or not they're going to. All of these are extensions, right? So all these guys are still under contract. But if you don't extend them, you're going to do to them what we did to Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, if you remember, history lesson back in the day was saying, extend me. Green Bay hold and hummed and was tap dancing, and Devontae Adams said, that's cool, so be it. Regular season comes around, I'm not going to ask you again, I'm not going to talk again. We're done in my mind. So
But
long as you know that.
but
I
but
ask you
to
to do
that
this
point,
now.
though, they was dealing with Aaron Rodgers too. On top of that, whether or not he was going to be extended as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and
So it was all a
Devon,
part of it.
Devontae
Right.
Adams was actually waiting because he didn't want to stay there because he didn't know what Jordan Love was going to be. That's
Mm-hmm.
what he was
That's like the
also.
only error he did. That was the only
Yeah.
error that I feel that he did because he didn't know, he didn't want to wait another development, which I understand. But the development only took about a year and some change, and you figure out right there that he can probably be good. But
I
yeah,
get what Devontae Adams was thinking. I
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
no disdain in my heart for Devontae Adams. Salute to
yeah,
him. He's
Right.
one of my
Right.
favorites ever. I got what he was thinking. It's just I'm
yeah.
happy that he's wrong, that Jordan Love turned out to be. But
Right.
Right.
timeline wise, I get it. I don't have time to wait on a maybe
No,
if. Like
Right.
I'm
Right.
older
Right.
than all these guys. We're not in the same age group.
Right.
Go and get the guys who are in your age group. All those guys, they're all in the same class, right? Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, they all went to school together. I'm
Mm-hmm.
older than these dudes, right? So if it don't work out for me, like I'm in the Alan Lazard age group, Aaron Jones age group. That was
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams guys, right? And so like if this don't work out with Jordan Love, now I'm stuck. Can't do that, bro. I'm
Right.
going,
Right.
So I get it. But my point is this: to bring it to what I was saying, Christian Watson, they're going to re-sign him, right? Because they
Mm-hmm.
don't want that to happen. They don't
Right.
want that to be an issue, right? And every day you wait, the price goes up, right? Yesterday's price is not today's price, right? Every time I catch one of these big bombs and you haven't signed me, put another zero on it, like you know what I
Yesterday's
mean?
price
Like
ain't today's price.
right,
Yeah,
Right.
but
hustling 101.
you also got to take into account his injury history too,
Mm-hmm.
because
True, true,
he hasn't played a full season yet since he's been in the league.
Yeah. True.
true. But I don't think Green Bay has a leveraging point though, right? Because what he's going to come back and say is the minute I sit out, there goes your deep offense. Matthew Golden is not that dude. Matthew
Mm-hmm.
Golden is fast. Matthew Golden is not big and fast. He's not a deep threat.
Mm-hmm.
Or not so like he's not like your best deep threat. I unlock this offense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can ho and hum if you want. I'm telling you now, if you let me get to the free agency period, a team like Oakland is going to pay me all the money. All right, you know
Right.
what I mean? Oakland. The Raiders, they're going to pay me all the money. Or one of these other struggling teams, they're going to pay him.
Yeah,
They're
but
going to pay him. Like
but
they're
well,
not going to
I mean,
tap me like that.
his injury history is the reason why they gave him that extension to prove it.
Right.
Right. Would you play if you're Green Bay's GM? Would you try to argue with Christian Watson and say we're not going to pay you because you're injured?
No, I
Would
wouldn't
you
say
do
that
that?
exact. I wouldn't say that exactly, but I give him that extra year to prove it to me that you can stay healthy for a whole season, and
But
then
that's what they
we'll
did
talk
though.
about. Yeah, that's what I'm
But that's
saying.
what they did. That's this last season going. That's what I'm saying. He did that. You know what I mean? I get why they didn't pay him the big money to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But this last season gone was his prove it moment. And he was not the problem, even though he did drop a ball in the Chicago Bears game, right? That's neither here nor there at this moment. But he was, to me, not their problem. I think right now what Green Bay is doing is they're scaling down to their core weapons, right?
Yep,
Which is on offense is
yep.
going to be Watson, Golden,
Golden,
Reed in the slot,
Jaden
Tucker
Reed,
Kraft is your tight end, uh, Josh
Savion
Jacobs is
Williams,
running back.
Savion Williams.
Savion Williams sprinkled in, right? So he's got support players, but your main core guys, right? This is my starting five, right? This is in the clutch moments. This is who I want on the field. Jaden Reed, Watson, Golden, Kraft, Jacobs. Now you're going to get support from guys like Savion Williams and maybe Sky Moore, who just came over, who is also, brought over
he's gonna be that returner. That's gonna be his
Right.
priority.
Right. But but by trade he's a wide receiver, right? And so sprinkle him in.
But we still got we
got
signed Bo Milton too.
Yeah.
So
You got Milton. If he makes a squad, because his spot is in jeopardy now, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the undrafted free agents that you didn't mention was Jay Stuyvesant, or whatever his last name is. Stuyvesant.
Is it Jay Michael? What you talking about, Jay Michael?
Jay Michael.
Oh yeah, Florida. I did forgot about you from Florida receiver. Yeah, I did. I went right over him. Yeah.
Well,
who is
he's got the
6'3".
He's about the same height as
Watson.
boy Christian Watson.
Yeah, 6'3".
Almost the same measurable. 6'3", runs a 4.
And he runs a 4. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't just do the MVS thing. Like he can do in between routes and whatnot.
Damn, Dr. Smith is just throwing strays in the midst of dropping.
I'm just saying. For reference, I'm not trying to shoot at these guys. I'm just saying for reference, right? He's not just a straight line.
But
weapon,
you are,
right?
But you are shooting. Well, let's just be clear. You are shooting.
Gotta get my point across, right? So my point is this: is that what I liked about this draft is that even though I like Bo Melton, and apparently so does Green Bay, right? Because they had him on the team. Melton's strength to me is not just that he's a wide receiver. Melton's strength is what he does for special teams, right? Right. That's where he, you know what I mean? And so, but even with that being said, what I like about this draft is that there should be no sure jobs. Everyone is going to have to fight their way on the job.
It's going to be a battle in training camp.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be it personally.
Salute, Mr. Cole.
Yeah, so you're gonna be there. So I was thinking, like I said last year, I was gonna come up for like one of these training camp days or whatever, and then my work schedule just didn't end up helping out, right? And so I may still try to do that this year. Okay. I prefer that over games because I could see and hear the players a little bit better. But But there's gonna be a lot of competition. There's going to be a lot of competition for these spots. What I like is that it sounds like they're going to scale down and get back to the basics. Enough with this, we're on level 23 with our offense and all that. If we can't get like the first 5 levels down pat, right? Guys not running their right routes. People were complaining that Matthew Golden wasn't involved in offense more. And they were getting on Matt LaFleur. Did you know that Matthew Golden was out there running incorrect routes? Well, that puts things in a different light. No, you can't get on the field now, bro. I mean, like if I'm throwing to this guy and I got 2 receivers merging into the same lane because you don't know where you're supposed to be, and now we're almost throwing interceptions because Matthew Golden's in the wrong part of the field, then Matthew Golden is wrong.
Right.
And you can't get on the field.
That's fair.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I said
we also still have Romeo Dobbs and Wicks.
Yeah.
It's too many mouths to feed.
Right, and if all those guys know the offense better, then even though you have better hands, even though you're faster, you run routes cleaner. If you don't run the right routes, then you can't get on the field in critical moments. Right? So my thing is, of all of those guys, Matthew Golden, you, with the exception, I'm not even going to do a comparative analysis. Your talent level is unreal. Never mind everyone else. Unreal talent. But you can't get on the field if you don't know what you're doing. Right?
Exactly.
So if you're not out there with Jordan Love as we speak right now in California running routes, then you're doing it wrong and you're already behind the 8 ball. I know that in the offseason, these guys need to decompress and you need to get your bodies right and whatnot, but you don't have to wait until preseason or training camp or whatever. Get out there with those guys, man. Run those routes until you can't see the ball anymore.
Dr. Smith.
That's what pros are supposed to do.
All right.
A lot of these guys don't play.
Don't wait till till the training camp. You gotta work.
All those guys, all the other guys that you're gonna be on the field, they know it. right? Tucker Kraft knows the offense.
The
Jaden Reed
reason
knows the
Peyton
offense.
Manning
Christian
and
Watson.
Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison were so elite, they worked all off season. It was 24/7 all year round with
That's what
Peyton
you're supposed to
Manning
do.
and Reggie Wayne, where they knew what they were doing in their sleep. You used to watch them before games run a route. That ball would be gone, and they still running a route. And then as soon as they finish, that ball is right there. They had it to muscle memory, and
That's
that's
how
what
it's
the
supposed to
Packers
be.
need to work
That's
on
what
is
it's
muscle
supposed to
memory.
be.
Like they would
It's
just turn
supposed to be
around,
like
just be like every. And to be honest, who else is like that? To keep it real, one of my favorite quarterbacks too, I know separate from the Packers, is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's a quarterback like that. With him and Chase, you see how they just aligned, and their receivers, they're always together, always together.
You didn't
Well,
even have to
just
go to
what
other
I
teams.
mean, you could see
Go
it
ahead,
with
go ahead.
Green Bay too back in the day with Aaron Rodgers when he had Jordy Nelson, when
Is
he
it
had
right?
James Jones, and then you
That's
had
what I'm
That's
saying.
true.
You
yeah,
didn't even
You
have to
Dennis.
go to
right.
other teams.
It was like
You're right.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to go to other
Remember that.
teams.
that was it was
Only
like watching robots.
Right. It was like watching robots. It was
They knew
like
exactly what to do. They
other
know
Right.
than
he the
Philly
creator.
and
Aaron
Dallas.
Rodgers was the creator of the backwards pass, the back
the back shoulder pass. Yeah.
back shoulder. He
Yeah,
created that.
Man, you know what? This is on a side note. This is way off topic. Man, if Aaron Rodgers had 2 more championships, I'll be putting him in a GOAT conversation. I promise I would be putting him in a GOAT conversation. He had
He's
2 more
definitely-
titles.
he's
We'd be
definitely-
having a completely different conversation about Aaron Rodgers' legacy.
He definitely still has the best. He's the best thrower of the ball. Though.
Oh,
He still is.
absolutely. Him, and then I put Dan Marino underneath him, and then damn, what's my guy? Old school Joe Namath. People don't know. If you ever watch some old Joe Namath film, that man could really throw it would make a sound. They used to show him like throwing practice ball. It'll whistle when he's throwing it. Swoom, swoom. I was like, what? Like, don't sleep on Joe Namath had a cannon, man.
Magic.
I'm telling y'all.
Magic.
Yeah.
It was like seeing magic.
But our boy Jordan Love I know it's early in his career. He's new to being started and all that, but he is our future franchise quarterback, and I'm completely confident that he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. He's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. Jordan Love.
He just need them to catch the ball.
Yeah, that's it. And protection. If you protect Jordan Love, he will kill you.
Oh, he'll pick you apart.
But the thing is, that's for any quarterback. To put that in perspective, we look at what happened with Seattle.
I wouldn't say that.
Sam Darnold ain't no world beater, bro. But he has time to pass. It makes things different when you have time to pass and you can run the ball. Seattle was dominant in the trenches. Their defensive line and offensive line were more physical than everyone else. Sam Darnold, you put him on any other team, he's not killing like that. He's not doing on it, but he's getting more confident when you know that you have protection. You don't got to worry about somebody coming on your blind side. You know they got to respect the run. It makes you way more comfortable playing quarterback. That's why we even got to give Jordan Love more props. We couldn't run the ball last year, no protection, and he still put up Pro Bowl numbers. Come on, man. Multiple injuries at receiver. You don't have your number 1 receiver all year. People in and out the lineup. Josh Jacobs was hurt all year, and Jordan Love didn't even throw. Did Jordan Love even throw 9 picks this year? I don't even think he threw 9 interceptions.
I think it's only 6.
Aaron Rodgers status. That's what Aaron do. 6, 7 interceptions, 30, 40 touchdowns.
And balled in that game against Chicago. We did not lose because Jordan Love.
He didn't. That was
Jordan
the part
Love
that I
balled.
4 touchdowns.
You know what it is, and this is sad to say, he's suffering the same fate as Aaron Rodgers, where the defense lets you down in a playoff.
Yeah, but the difference is between that though, Aaron Rodgers could win you the game even if his defense sucked. He would get you there. Now Jordan Love is not there yet. He will get there. He has the talent? Yes. He has everything. But he's not there yet. That's why the other day when I was on here, when you and Pronte called him a superstar, I was like, what? Wait a minute. He ain't a superstar.
He's headed into that. He's trending in that. We'll say this. Hey. Like, he's not a tier 1 quarterback yet, but he's tier 2, and he can see the door to get to tier 1.
Right.
He can see the door.
Thanks to
But
get in that.
I was just confused on that day. I was
We
like,
we
wait a
got we
minute.
got a little charge, but you get what
Yeah.
we said. Like, no, he's not a
Well, man,
superstar yet, but he can see
yeah.
the door. He can see the door.
Right.
Well, here's the thing that I would say in Jordan Love's defense, right? All of the top quarterbacks in the league, when Jordan, I don't know what happens when it's Toyota-thon time or whatever, when it comes around to Thanksgiving, none of them could hold step with Jordan Love then. Jordan Love goes like through the transformation. He starts seeing those Toyota
He got
commercials.
moments.
He starts
He
Right.
seeing
got
the turkey,
moments.
the
I'm
gravy,
not gonna lie
and,
about that.
and
He got
he,
moments.
at that period, is the best quarterback in football, right?
Oh
In
yeah.
that game against Chicago, I don't know how truly far we would have gone in the playoffs this year without our key pieces,
Right.
right? But I know that if his other guys would have shown up, we would have beat Chicago.
Right.
It
We
wasn't his fault, right?
Jordan Love threw
we
6
still had
interceptions
enough.
this year. He threw 6 interceptions, 23
Yeah, that's what I
touchdowns.
said. Yeah.
A one-on-one quarterback rating.
Yeah.
One-on-one.
No,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
Michael, without Tucker, no, we're not beating
I
Seattle.
mean, but your number one player on the team was gone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Michael Parsons.
So,
Right.
right. So without those guys, but no, I don't think we were getting past. Like Seattle and the Rams, to me, were the best two teams in the
Right.
NFC.
I
Right, and
agree.
to me, that was Super Bowl. Those two teams.
I think we still could have gave him a run for their money, even though we was missing pieces.
Well,
I think
consider
we
this.
still could have gave him a run for their money.
For me, for my money, take it or leave it, whatever my opinion is worth, right? But I thought like the best three teams consistently over the year, leaving the Packers out of it, were the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Broncos, in my opinion. Now, when we went up against them,
we was killing the
we were
Broncos
right
until
in that
Micah
game.
went down.
I know
And
that. Oh man, that.
We started dropping injuries, and then
yeah,
this was to
we
me the
up by
most
10.
damning indictment of our cornerbacks is that you shouldn't have to have one of the best pass rushers that I've ever seen for you to be on the field, right? Keyshawn Nixon turning completely against the grain, spinning 180 in the opposite direction, trying to find his receiver. That, to me, you're fired. That game, you're fired. I'm seeing like
I'm gonna make a
mediocre.
bold prediction. One of those guys gonna get cut. Valentine.
I'm seeing mid receivers turn this man inside out, like mid receivers. And to me, at that point, the makeup was off. Michael Parsons said when he first came into the team that he's never been without a Pro Bowl cornerback because he makes them all look good until he came to Green Bay. Only reason Keyshawn Nixon made the Pro Bowl is because everyone that they actually wanted to give the spot to was still playing it or turned it down. So Keyshawn Nixon said, I'll do it. But of the guys who actually deserve to be there, none of our guys were there. There was someone who threw up a stat the other day. Again, I've been consuming a lot of Packer content creator content.
That's what. That's the number one position that I can't wait to see the competition in training camp. Is corner.
Because there was a stat that they threw up. We were the bottom. We had 2 of the bottom 12 cornerbacks in the league. I don't know if it was
catching percentage.
Yeah,
that's it. Completion percentage. Yeah.
Carrington, Valentine, and Nixon.
Both of them were in the bottom 12. You're fired. I didn't need that stat to tell me that.
They were like number 66 and 69 of 81 in the league.
Right.
There you go. So this is what I'm saying. Like, bro, I didn't need that stat to verify what my eyes were telling me.
Right.
I had to go back to the Dallas game when we tied them 40-40, and I'm looking at Dak Prescott absolutely obliterate my cornerbacks.
Oh, that man made it.
And I'm like,
silly.
What are we even watching right now? Like, did anyone get out of bed and decide to play?
Take my vote.
Right, exactly. It was like, defense optional, right? I'm sitting there watching Caleb Williams burn our team. If it wasn't for a game-saving interception, to Keyshawn Nixon's credit, we would have got swept by the Bears last year. Think about that. Our cornerbacks have to go. So Brandon Cisse
shouldn't even got to that point.
Right. Agreed.
So Cisse, St. Juste, Damani Jackson, and I actually hope that they sign Trayvon Diggs and bring him in just for competition and make the best man win. And you know what, Keyshawn? You know what, Carrington? If you don't make it, if you don't make it, you don't make it. You're already fighting on your starting spots. I don't want to see you on the field.
I don't want to see
Period.
them starting a game.
I
CV
don't want to see
or
you on the
Nixon.
field. I really don't.
CV
I don't
or
want to see
Nixon.
you on the field. Keyshawn Nixon, part of his contract when he got that contract that he got was that he was also a kick returner. And it's because I'm not letting that go. We
Right.
had a Pro Bowl kick returner who all of a sudden wasn't returning kicks. Now I don't know whose decision that was, whether he said he didn't want to do
Hey,
it or whether the team
he
said they
said
didn't
he
want to,
didn't
but they
want
didn't even have
to.
him doing that.
He said he didn't want to. He said he didn't want to
Got
return
popped
kicks,
one good
and then
time.
he asked for a new contract.
He
This
said
off
number one. He said number one cornerbacks aren't kick returners.
No, he got popped one good time. He said, I don't want to do kick return no more.
No,
So
that
I'm
wasn't it.
good.
That
Hey,
wasn't. It wasn't the
that's
pop. It was the fumble in the playoffs. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
he stopped. It was the fumble in the playoffs.
and
That's
then
where he. That's
he had the
what really
nerve to
kicked it
find
off.
for. He had the
So I'm
nerve
good.
to ask
I'm
for a new
good.
contract.
Right.
So I'm good. Not to be forgotten. Because I'm seeing J. Cole and I'm agreeing with everything he said. Not to be forgotten on the other side, Carrington. I remember a Detroit game.
CV.
Now, we beat Detroit. We swept Detroit, right? But when we went to Detroit, we had them handled in the box, in the bag, and they scored right before halftime. We had the right play. How frustrating must
Oh,
it be if
this
you're
man
Jeff
missed the
Hadley
tackle.
Right.
and you call the right play, and Carrington Valentine is right there and does this? I don't know what he did. Threw his body at the receiver.
He just
Who was
lunged
the
his
dude that
shoulder in
he
there.
He said he just
right
lunged.
and gave the receiver that
That was
caught the ball?
that was Williams.
They said he
Right.
just
How much does
lunged.
that dude
Right.
weigh?
He just
That
lunged
dude
his
weighed
shoulder in there.
35 pounds. You couldn't get him down on the ground? You're fired, bro. You're fired. Then the Baltimore game comes, and Derrick
Oh my
Henry
God.
is grabbing you and taking you and the ball with him.
Right.
Bro,
Taking you on a ride.
thank you. Thank you, Carrington.
Reference.
Thank you.
Devin,
Thank you for your
he
effort.
stiff armed the mess out of somebody in that game. It was so bad that I turned it off.
He stiff armed our pride. That's what he did. He stiff armed our
So,
Yeah,
pride.
so
yeah.
with,
That's why I
with,
turned
with
it off
all
again.
due respect to those dudes, I don't want to make it personal, but I don't want to see you on the field. That's a
You
fireable
can't
offense, right?
you can't start.
Carrington,
You can't start.
exactly.
Yeah.
Carrington, Keyshawn, Brandon
You cannot be
McManus,
the starters.
right? Rashawn Gary sitting there putting on jog like he's jogging at a 3 out of 10 space. When Michael Parsons is sitting there running his knee out of socket, you sitting there jogging. Bro, everyone and their mother was excited about what you and Michael Parsons could do together. And I'm sitting there and I'm a big fool because I'm sitting there saying, but imagine what Rashawn Gary could do when we get Michael Parsons. And Rashawn Gary was like, yeah, but I'm just gonna jog. I'm just gonna
Hey,
walk it out.
but
Stroll in there doing
him and LVN started off good when we had Michael Parsons. As soon as he went down, they were nowhere to be found.
I would even argue LVN did. Rashawn Gary, I think, got the benefit of people kind of like giving him like that grace period because he wasn't gangbusters in the very beginning. I did see LVN bench pressing like offensive linemen, like get out the way and all the rest of that, and then of course he got injured. But
Yeah.
in Igbari
But he started.
was
But
outsnapping
Rashard Gary
Oh, that's
started
true.
with seven. Rashard Gary started with 7 sacks, but as soon as he went down, he was nowhere to be found. He disappeared. He
They weren't even putting
disappeared.
second downs at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
They was putting the third down plays. I'm sitting there like,
I know by season's end, Igbari was outsnapping Rashawn Gary.
Fact.
Exactly.
You knew
I
the
wish-
writing
I
was
wish-
on the wall. The lack of
They
effort.
should have signed him and kept him and got rid of Rashard Gary. I would have rather kept him.
Well, I mean, I was a little surprised that Igbari got away too, but I can't hate on him, right? You know, you gotta go and get your money, right? This
Right.
is
Get
a
your money. Yeah.
Yeah.
violent sport, right? And so at a certain point, if somebody's gonna give you more money, you know, more bang for your buck, right? Because I ain't gonna play forever, you know what I mean? And if Green Bay wasn't gonna do it, and I can't hate Green Bay for that because again, they said we are going to re-sign Christian Watson, our Avengers, right? The Infinity Gems on our team, right? Christian Watson, Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed, Josh Jacobs, maybe Devontae Wyatt, Zach Tom, Jordan Love. These are all the Infinity Stones on our team, right? Edgerrin Cooper eventually, because you got to plan
Right.
for the
Don't
future.
forget Micah Parsons.
Of course, Michael Parsons, right? The Infinity Stone, right?
Right.
The Infinity, he's our best
That's
player, right?
that's stand-ups.
Exactly. That's Thanos with the glove and the whole nine. Glove on two hands. Michael Parsons, best player that we've had since Charles Woodson. Believe it, right? Aaron Rodgers,
Right.
he's in that category, right? But planning for the future, right? That we only got so much money to spend. That's why I think Gutekunst put on a master class, because you look at the move that he made for Quay Walker, swapping him out with Zaire Franklin.
Zaire
Franklin is cheaper and arguably a better version. I think you would have been fine if he was just as good.
To that point, though, part of that I blame Matt LaFleur, because Quay Walker was never a middle linebacker.
Right.
When he was at
Talk
Georgia,
on it.
he didn't have to worry about calling plays and making checkdowns until he got to Green Bay. That's why he couldn't perform, because he was always thinking and not reacting.
I agree.
Thank you. Not enough people make that point, which is why I think it's so important to go and get someone like a Chris McClellan, because he allows Javon Hargrave to play at 3 technique, right? Just because I've done it in the past doesn't mean that this is my best position. Just because I've played some middle linebacker doesn't mean that this is my best position. Quay Walker, exactly what you were saying, was always supposed to be an offside linebacker.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. That's like asking Edgerrin Cooper to be a middle linebacker. No one is saying no, that's that. Everyone would say that's kind of a bad idea, because you don't want him to think as much. You just want him to
exactly
seek and destroy. And that's the cloth that Quay Walker should have been in. So I absolutely agree with that.
Exactly.
Absolutely
They put
agree
him
with that. I think Isaiah McDuffie would have been a better middle linebacker, and they should have did the swap out. But to what you're saying, they never made that move.
That's coaching, though. That's
100%.
And that's also
you've been put in a
getting
position
middle
that
linebacker
you can't
move him.
No, I definitely agree.
That's also not getting a middle linebacker to move him. That's why getting someone like McClellan was important, because now I have the ability to keep someone like a Javon Hargrave at his best position. They never went and got a middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
They were always just content to say, yeah, but Quay can do it. Quay can do it.
Yeah. And that's not right.
They did him a disservice. They did him. And I've been saying for the longest, like, you could see he's out there processing. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing instinctual about his game currently.
Because it's not his position. He didn't come up doing that on a regular basis constantly. You know, so I agree 100. I'm glad you made that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we do get on Quay.
That comes back to the coach. That's why I was kind of confused when Ed Policy extended his contract for multiple more years.
LaFleur?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he deserved to. I mean, maybe just extend him one more year, maybe, but not multiple years, because you didn't have your chances. You've been here. It'll be your 8th season coming up.
Right. No Super Bowl.
We've been to the last time we've been to the playoffs, the last 3 times without Aaron Rodgers, we've been the 7th seed. And the 7th seed, ever since the 7th seed has been put into the playoffs, that's what we've been.
Well, I'll go you one step further as far as sense of urgency. We haven't been to the Super Bowl since 2010.
Right.
Let alone win it. We haven't even been to the Super Bowl since 2010. Right. It's 2026. 16 years later, there are Packer fans who are about to be finished high school who've never seen us win a Super Bowl. They've never even seen us play a Super Bowl, so they don't even know what we know.
Right.
I can tell you exactly where I was, what I was doing when we won the Super Bowl. You couldn't tell me nothing. They don't know anything about that. It's been so long, right? So
it's getting to those Dallas Cowboy years, because it's been about 30.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I've been a fan so long, I can tell you the circumstances that existed on all of the times when we were at our closest and we should have won, like the Seattle game and you know, the game against the 49ers. How many different
what if just recent memory, the Buccaneers game where the GOAT threw 3 interceptions and we still lost against the Buccaneers? Tom Brady,
the 49ers game when our defense looked like the Ravens.
Yes.
You know, but even though I can tell you all of those circumstances,
in a row. Number one seed 2 years in a row.
Meant nothing. Meant nothing.
You know,
Nothing.
uh, uh, but even with all of that, what ends up happening is that people get tired of the excuses and the justifications, right? And all the circumstances that surround it. You either do it or you don't, right? So to that, making that point, that's why I like what Gutekunst did, because this is kind of like a move your chips to
Oh
the
yeah,
center of the move.
I
You go out
agree
and you
with
get
you.
yourself a Micah Parsons, right? We had
Yeah.
to adjust to that because you're supposed to have to give up 2 first-round picks for a Micah
Right.
Parsons.
Exactly.
That's what makes it fair. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you would just the
Right.
league would get out of hand really quick, right? That's why when people were talking about, well, maybe we could trade for Myles Garrett, just understand that if you do that, you're
Generational talent.
right.
That's
You're losing
generational.
everything if you do it. There's
Right.
supposed to be guys who, if you're going to move them, like trade them, I want everything back.
Everything. Right.
Like
Right.
Giannis, right?
Like
Y- y-
Giannis.
y- Yeah, like I want everything back. Just understand that, because and it's supposed to be like that. What I loved about Gutekunst is that the pain that we had to deal with after getting Michael Parsons, he very quickly smoothed that over with the other moves that he made. And so
Oh yeah.
now, just as much as we're all like grimacing at how the Packers season ended, I want you to go back to what it started like and what we looked like in that first Detroit game. That defense was unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was against an offense that the previous year was the best in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Number one.
Detroit wasn't just good; they were the best
The number
offense
one.
in the league.
We
And we
ruined
little
Detroit's
boys
season.
They
at
were
We
they
ruined
were
their
one of the
season. We ruined their
they were the
season.
top
We exposed them early.
And
they were the
everybody was
top
doing
they were the top team coming into this season
Right.
to go back.
Yeah.
actual facts, and we little boyed them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sonic and Knuckles could not get going for nothing. They
Right.
they didn't have
Oh no.
any time to do anything. All of their passes were dump off passes, and as soon as they had the dump off passes to the people
We
who
were
would
right
defend,
there.
this is when my favorite part of this defense obviously was Michael Parsons, right? But outside of that was the middle of the field, how we patrolled it, whether it was to Quay Walker's defense, Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, all the guys who were operating in that mid part, like our midfield, we were unbelievable in the very beginning. And we followed that up in Washington and did the same thing against another offense, or an offense that was at that time predicted to be explosive. Remember what the Washington had done the year before that? They went to the NFC Championship game. What we couldn't do for years. They went immediately. And we little boyed them too. We can rediscover that with this team.
Facts.
The lacking elements on this defense, we have actually, in my opinion, upgraded. You go out and you get yourself like a Benjamin St. Juice. You go out and you get yourself someone like a Brandon Cisse. Benjamin St. Juice, for the people who might not be getting excited about him, was the #1 rated cornerback in zone coverage last
Yeah, last
Mm-hmm.
year.
right?
He's number
Now,
one.
maybe there's an asterisk that you need to put next to it because he wasn't a starter. And so you could say, all right, well, he played. This is when it becomes like a mathematics game, right? He played less snaps, right? And so your average is going to maybe seem higher because you have less time to go on the field and screw it up.
Right.
That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is that I had less time to make an impact. So the time that I went on the field, I was impactful. I was so good, in fact, that I was the #1 rated cornerback against in zone coverage. When he was in Washington, he was doo-doo. He was Keyshawn Nixon, right?
Right.
Turned his career around when he went to the Chargers, and that's what we're getting. We're getting the turned around St. Juice to come play in the defense that suits him. And then, oh, by the way, you go out and you get yourself a Brandon Cisse possibly to play alongside him. Now,
Right.
yes, a fan, I want them to knock both of those guys off the field. In reality, that's probably not going to happen, at least in the beginning, right? Carrington Valentine is absolutely getting benched. But we saw that because they were trying to bench last year. Right.
I want Damani Jackson to knock him even further down in the depth chart.
I agree.
As do I. I'm just saying, like, in the very beginning, I don't know if that happens. I do think it happens with Carrington Valentine because they actually benched Carrington Valentine last year. It's just that his backup got hurt and they had to go back in.
He's
Yeah,
scared to
he's a
tackle.
bad tackler, and he just wasn't.
Hold on. Having some issues here, y'all. Give it a second here, y'all. Hold on. There we go.
Dr.
Dr.
Smith
Smith,
froze a little.
yeah, Dr. Smith, you froze. I'm gonna pop you out. Pop back in, Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith froze there for a minute. We're gonna let him pop back in here.
It was burning up in here because he was cooking.
Right, exactly.
It's, uh,
Exactly. Hey, yeah, tap back in, Dr. Smith. We'll give you a second. But while we waiting on Dr. Smith, let's get the last words from you, Jay Lewis, and then go to Bleacher on you, Jay Lewis.
oh man, like I said, like I always say, Amber, I appreciate coming on here
Hey,
all
appreciate you,
the time.
man. I didn't know you was
Appreciate
this locked in on the NFL. Salute to you for that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, I'm more locked
hey.
in. That's number one. That's number one sport in America. I'm always gonna be locked in.
All right. Hold on,
You
I'm tapping Dr. Smith and get his last words too. But go ahead, Jay Lewis. Then we'll go to Bleacher. Go ahead, Jay Lewis.
Hey, like I'm looking forward to this football season, man. I can't wait. With all these pieces that we got, I can't wait to see. I'm hoping that we get to hear from the defensive coordinator sooner than training camp,
Right.
because I need to hear from him what he actually is going to do with these pieces.
Are you
Because
alive, man?
yeah, are you AI?
This is a
You know,
classic,
I
Dr.
mean,
Smith. If
Yeah.
y'all don't even know, this is a classic, Dr. Smith right
Somebody,
here.
somebody sent a car to his house. Wellness
yeah.
check, brother. Are you still breathing? Like, pick up the phone, man. Something. Like, you know
Right,
what I mean? Something.
Oh,
Not the
exactly.
wellness check. Not the wellness check.
I don't
Answer the
know.
door.
It's
He
just
said,
me.
Knocked on your
answer
door
the
four
door.
times. Answer
Answer the
the door, man.
door.
Something, man. Something, man.
oh
Just
my
something.
God.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
That
He
is
got yeah,
hilarious. Right. All right.
yeah.
Appreciate you, Jay Lewis. On you,
Man,
Bleacher.
real.
I'll just say right now, I love with the draft picks that the Packers did. I just this year they just, I mean, like we were saying last year, they need to play the national position for the offensive line. I think the offensive line right now is the key. Right now, they got to work on the offseason. They said clearly they're gonna keep the guys they got right now, but they got to work on it. But with the defensive line, I am excited. I'm excited what they did with the linebacking core. I know what they did with the defensive linemen. Uh, Once they get the ball rolling, sky's the limit. I'm really excited. I'm ready for
Same.
the season to start, and I'm ready that they get the quarter, they adjust the cornerback position. I just part of me really wish that Nixon and Valentine's knocked down the charts because we need consistency. And
Right.
this is the warning to Matt LaFleur. Like we ain't playing them. Somebody like when the last person came, in the comments said, "Oh, who you gonna get? Who you gonna get?" It doesn't matter if you don't win. It doesn't matter how many wins he got. When I said Mike Schottenheimer, look at Mike Schottenheimer's wins percentage. It didn't matter, didn't it? It didn't matter at the end of the day because he didn't win nothing. No disrespect to him. Rest in peace. I'm just saying, when you want to be good or you want to be great. Like you want people to come in, keep on taking meat off your table, or you want to tell them to get out of my table. This is my house. Like get out of my house. Don't be doing all that in my house. Like it's been the mystique of Lambeau has been down for the last 5
Agreed.
years. Like nobody's scared to come to Lambeau no more. You supposed to be like, man, it's cold. I want to play in Green Bay.
Right.
You don't get it no more. Most of the losses we had in the playoffs been at home. It's been at home. And I think the Packers right now need to change that. You got to change that this offseason. I'm going to be there at training camp. If you want to be a Dr. Smith, please come with me. But we they gotta change some stuff in there. They gotta change, and I just think the offensive line has to be number one right now because they gotta figure out who's gonna be in their natural position and what they're gonna do with it. So that's all I gotta say.
Appreciate you. On you, Dr. Smith, before we get out of here. On you, Dr. Smith.
oh, for sure, bro. If I could make it, would definitely Lincoln. I'll definitely like send up a flare and have guys meet up or whatever.
Right.
But I think that what I was pleased about with the entire offseason so far, whether it's free agency and the draft, is that it was efficient, and I think that we addressed a lot of the issues that a lot of us had last year by season's end. Right,
Mm-hmm.
it was a completely different feeling at the beginning of last year versus what we had at the end of the last year. And I think we're equipped. That's what I was concerned about, that we just weren't going to have enough money or draft picks to see to a lot of the different things, right? There's still some moves that they can make still, right? I would still go out and get like a veteran nose tackle
Mm-hmm.
just to be insurance if McClellan is not ready. I would still go out and flesh out more of that offensive line depth just so we can move on from some of the guys who were so bad that even when we started getting injured, you couldn't even get on the field. How bad is that, right? When we started getting injured, we still can't even put you on the field. That's how bad you are, right? I think we're equipped. So now it's an attitude thing. So this is to Matt LaFleur, right? Before it was Ben Johnson in Chicago, it was Detroit's head coach that was little boy in you, right? It was Dan that was little boy in you. Going for it on 4th and 5 and 4th and 6 and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. He disrespected us so bad that he's just doing it every single time. Now, he didn't just
You
do
can't
that to
stop
Green
him.
Bay. He did that to everybody. But we couldn't stop him. We figured Detroit out only for Detroit to be substituted by Ben Johnson. And then Ben
I
Johnson
know.
was disrespectful.
Right.
Yeah.
And he did say, F the Packers and all that, and sitting there
Mm-hmm.
great
He did.
cheese and you know what? They won the game, so they get to do that. And you know
Correct.
what we get to do? We get to watch that all off season. We get to watch how they ran through our defensive line. We get to watch how we had a 20-plus point lead going into the half and then lost that game. We get to watch how that team, how we just completely fell apart. We get to watch how we went up to Detroit or Denver, excuse me, and one of their safeties sat there and mushed Jordan Love's head into the earth and whatnot, and no offensive lineman, in fact, no player actually ran to Jordan Love's defense. We get to watch all of those punk moments that people seem to have on Green Bay. How does that make you feel, Packers? This is one of my
Mm.
rants now, because I know how it made me feel as a fan. They little boyed you last year. After we got Micah Parsons, we have the weapons. It's on you now at this point. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like I said, yeah, I've seen the videos where Matthew Golden is getting it together and all of these guys are getting in shape and whatnot, but it's the little things. Is Matthew Golden out there trading with Jordan Love so he can catch up with the rest of the receivers? So he's not like the one that's lacking? Right, you see what Tucker Kraft is doing. He's in there turning into Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator.
Bruh.
Right, you see there what Micah Parsons doing there, and
Yeah.
he's if I can't do it, then all of you guys are going to get on my level. You
Yeah.
have nothing better to do but to bring your ass into this gym to work out with me and my trainer. That's where you need to be. That's what we need to be doing. All of my offensive linemen, if you're not in the gym right now lifting weights, you're doing it wrong. Because all of you guys are over 300 pounds, but no one would know it with the way that people were pushing us backwards and we couldn't get any kind of push for Josh Jacobs. I'm letting
Right.
all of you guys have it. We started off the year with promise. We ended up the year a joke. We ended up the year in the same box that the Milwaukee Bucks were in.
Mm.
Embarrassing. And I'm not
Yep.
having it this year. I will come to Green Bay and let all of you and buy an expensive ticket, get right down there in front, let all of you people have it. I'm not having it this year. You guys are way better than that. I'm calling on the captains of the team,
Hey,
people
get the
that I
likes
didn't
up.
see at the end of the year, right? Xavier McKinney, who I think the world of, but I couldn't find him on the field when we needed him the most in that Chicago game. And I think he's one of our best players. Right? I'm calling
Right.
on guys like that. I'm calling on Josh Jacobs. Get your body healthy. I have no complaints about Josh Jacobs actually, right? I thought Josh Jacobs was a superhero for us, right? But him going out there playing and not getting the support that he needed frustrated me. I'm calling on guys like Jordan Love to start off the year Toyotathon. Don't wait until it's time to eat turkey and gravy. Start off the year Toyotathon. And I'm
Right.
calling on Matt LaFleur, who would get a lead and then all of a sudden play not to lose instead of continuing to play to win.
Kill him,
And
man.
then when I'm
Kill him.
saying things like that, everyone's sitting there saying, oh, well, he's playing four-dimensional chess and strategy. A lot of that punk stuff happens from little moves like that. You're so scared to actually go out and win the game that you now put the game in jeopardy of us losing. We're better than that. We're
Right.
better than how we ended the season. It wasn't just because we had injuries. That was certainly a part of it. But we're better than the crap that we saw. And I can't wait for you guys to show me. I can't wait for you guys to show Chicago. I can't wait for you to show Seattle. I
Hey,
can't wait for you to show
they
any of
should
these
play
teams.
this in the Packers locker room. Real talk. Go ahead, Dr. Smith.
Clip,
Man,
clip this. Clip it.
That was an
hopefully they
epic.
listen this time.
That was epic right there. Like I'm definitely gonna
I'm
have to
I'm
cut that up. I'm gonna need to
Hey,
send
I'm
that right to the Packers.
fi-
That is bulletin board material right there. Matt
players
LaFleur
are
wouldn't even have no speech like that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Matt
fired up,
LaFleur
man.
couldn't
I'm
even.
fired up.
yeah,
I'm fired up. I'll leave you
Salute.
with this, right?
Uh-huh.
Javon Bullitt put himself out there, made himself public
oh,
enemy number one in
that's my
Chicago when
boy
he
right
said
there.
they didn't do anything special.
That's my
We just
boy.
lost the game. I agree.
Right.
Now they're clowning Javon Bullitt, and he's getting all the stuff that we would be giving to a
Mm.
Chicago player had we beaten Chicago, and then someone from Chicago said that, right? Have your man's back. Have Javon Bullitt's back. Don't leave him out there stranded. Javon
Right,
Bullitt said what all of the fans felt that they didn't do, Chicago didn't do anything special. We lost that game.
right.
Make him into like, how do I articulate this, right? Like make him right in this moment. Don't have him looking crazy. He went out on a limb and did like committed the sin that you're not supposed to commit, which is talking after a loss, right? That's supposed to be taboo. I'm not usually a fan of that, but I didn't see hear any lies from anything that he said.
Right.
No, he's
Have your
facts.
man's back. You know what I'm saying? Like they're guys, they're real dogs on this team. But
Oh yeah,
like continuing to move with some of these punk ways that we've adopted in certain ways is gonna have like the dogs wanting to go play for other teams because they're gonna say, you know what, I can't be myself here. It's too soft over here. You lot of
yeah,
soft, and I don't want that. We have dogs on this team. I want more dogs. Go out there and get it, Green
right.
Bay. We got it this year. That's all I have to
Players
say,
are a
man.
reflection
Salute.
of their coach.
Appreciate it. I just want to piggyback off of what you said briefly. The reason that the team is like this, respectfully, with this disarray, is because they're taking on the leadership of a soft coach. You wouldn't see no
Yeah,
Dan Campbell team like that, respectfully. You wouldn't see some
player.
of these other coaches. The reason we're like that, players aren't coming to help other players because that's not the environment that was created under this coach. To me, this is the last year for Matt LaFleur as a coach. If we don't get it done or at least get to the Super Bowl, I want him fired immediately. I want him to get that Doc Rivers treatment. Enough is
Yeah,
enough. There's no more excuses. Get it done. You've had your opportunities and you let it go right through your hands. Right through your hands being scared. And that's the problem. At some point, you got to stop being scared, Matt LaFleur, and just go for it. Shout out to you, Marcus Wirezone, new sub. Appreciate you. At some point, you're going to have to not be scared and just go for it. I'd rather go out on my shield than go out on what if I would have done this. Just go out on your shield. Whatever happens, happens. Be a man, Matt LaFleur. Quit being scared. Scared money don't make money, bro. You gotta go for it. As much as we think Dan Campbell is wild, Dan Campbell done got further than you. Going for it.
And I want to
Being
add one more
bold.
thing. You know and you know who also called Matt LaFleur out that you probably should know, you probably hear about? Mark Chmura's calling out Matt LaFleur.
Well, I'm gonna tell
Every
you this. I don't want to hear too much from Mark Chmura.
I
Like,
know I know that.
yeah. That's the last person I want to hear some from is
Who-
Mark
Who's that
Chmura.
guy? Chewy? That's on
Yeah.
that Gabe and Chewy show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't even watch that show.
Yeah,
I'll
I
be honest.
can't. Yeah,
I've
No,
tried. Yeah,
but
you
we
know,
definitely
but
about to have some more Packers lives coming. So go ahead, Jay Lewis.
I
yeah.
just got a question for Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith, Are you from here?
See, that's a long story. No, I'm from Queens, right? So that's a
yeah,
long story, right?
I just okay.
How is it that I become a Packer fan, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
and a Bucks fan.
and a Bucks fan, right? So real quick, the condensed version, right? Because I know you guys trying to go, right? I'm from New York, but I grew up in Bermuda, right? And I went there when I was 9. Like this, because I'm old, so this goes way back before NFL package and all of that. So Bermuda didn't have regional games back then. So all they would show when it came to football is whatever the game of the week was. So back then, when we all like all of my friends started getting into football and really starting to learn what it is we were watching, the 49ers and the Cowboys were the big bullies on the block, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Packers had just gotten Brett Favre, right? And so my high school's colors were green and gold. When you don't know nothing about the sport, it's always like for silly reasons that you pick a team, right? So my high school's colors were green and gold. I like the name Sterling Sharp. I liked the name Brett Favre, and I saw that Reggie White was flatlining people, right? You know what I mean? And we were about to get there. So I said, all right. And it wasn't like going after a front runner, right? Because the front runners were the 49ers and the
Niners and the
Cowboys. And I
Cowboys, right?
always had a problem with that. Like if you jump into a sport to just go after whoever's winning,
Right.
anybody could do that. That's easy. So who was the next big thing? And back then they well, at least Bermuda would give us like a healthy sample of the Packers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw that we were knocking on the door, weren't quite good enough, but I liked what I saw. And then over the years, as I learned more about the sport, they just made me more and more right. So I've been a fan now
That's
for the
dope.
Packers over like 30 years now at this point, since I was in high school,
Okay.
right? So I was about 12 or whatever when I first became a Packer fan. The Bucks, the Bucks more. I was a Knicks fan. That I did follow. I was like a regional fan with them, but the Knicks were so warning shot to the Bucks, right? The Knicks for many years were what we are seeing from the Bucks now. Just a complete disorganized mess, right? And there was no end in sight, and they were always bad. And it wasn't just that they were bad, they didn't seem like they were interested in getting better. They didn't know how to get better. We had like the biggest, most storied home court in basketball. We couldn't do it, right? And so I was just done watching Knicks games, and I was free floating for a while, and I would just watch, like I watched the WNBA too. I
Mm.
don't have a team, so I would just watch basketball because I love the sport. But I liked what Milwaukee was doing as far as building like their vision for defense way back when
Mm-hmm.
they had John Benson, and they had there's another player that they had. I'm trying to remember his name. Real dark skinned dude, real long
Larry
wingspan.
Sanders.
Donald Driver?
Sanders.
Nah,
Larry Sanders.
not
Larry
Larry
Sanders.
Sanders. No, no,
Thon
no,
Maker.
no. Thon Maker, right?
Thon Maker.
I like, not that he was a baller. I just like the vision, right? Because what they were trying to do is make it very difficult to get around them, right? Um, I saw when they had Larry Sanders and guys like OJ Mayo and all the
Mm-hmm.
rest of that, and they were cool, but they didn't start like getting my attention until they had like an identity that they were trying to build, right? With like the length and all the rest of that. And then no one knew what they had in Giannis. So I was there when Giannis really wasn't Giannis.
Right.
Yeah.
And then watching him transform it's another one of those things where I said
Mm.
I was there before Giannis became Giannis.
Giannis. Right.
I liked them just because they had length. And I liked the way that they were playing defense. But then all of a sudden you see this transformation happen right in front of you, and he made me right. You know what I'm saying? Like I picked them, but then he made that decision concrete. I was there when they got Chris Middleton, and Chris Middleton was just okay.
Right.
But then they made me right. And then, Chris Middleton became a Hall of Famer after I became a fan, right? And so that's just how you fall in love with a team, right?
Right.
When you
That's a
get
dope
there
story.
before the glow up, and then all of a sudden it happens, and then you were like, all right, well, I got here just in time. I'm not gonna tell you that I was a Milwaukee fan in the
Right.
80s or anything like that, right? But I felt like with Milwaukee, I got on the bus right before it took off,
Well, right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it took off, right? And the Packers, I've been a fan since. You know what I mean? And so it
Packers
just
got a
happened
strong
like that.
fan base.
That you know,
That's dope.
Okay.
Appreciate you. That's a
both
dope
my teams
story.
Appreciate
end up being for
Uh,
Wisconsin.
that's a dope story.
Mhm.
Appreciate that, Doctor Smith. Been
Yeah.
meaning
Yeah,
to ask that. Good
I was
shit,
just
Jay Lewis.
yeah,
curious. I
Right,
was just
right, right.
curious. Just
All right, y'all.
yeah,
Appreciate
yeah,
you.
for sure,
yeah.
Appreciate you. All right, Jay
for
Lewis. All
sure.
right, Bleacher. All right, Doctor Smith. Appreciate y'all. We
Thank
be
you,
going
Dr.
live
Smith,
in
for
the next
sharing,
couple
man.
of days.
Appreciate it.
All
Thank
We'll
you.
right,
talk
absolutely.
about something. All right, y'all. Go.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All
This
right,
is a good
peace,
line.
peace.
This is a good line. We needed a Packers line. This is a good line. Salute, salute. Get Brandon in here before we get up out of here. Hold on. All right, Brandon, I gotta go walk this dog. Go ahead, Brandon.
What up?
What up?
It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with Jay Lewis, Daniel,
So what did you think about the
DB,
draft? So what did you think
and
about the
Dr.
draft?
Smith.
Yeah, what did you think about the draft, Brandon?
I think the draft, Green Bay did a good job on that. I
Mm-hmm.
give them credit. They need to address a lot of things in the offseason
Mm-hmm.
because I don't make that say. I don't want Keyshawn Nixon or Valentine start this season. No, no, we are
Mm-hmm.
not having. No, not at all. Because I think it's the time that this Green Bay team can show up and show out this season.
Mm-hmm.
We need to take take our team soul out
Mm.
of their body. We need we need all hands on deck.
Right. I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't, even though I don't like Macklemore, MLF,
Mm-hmm.
because the way he played you thought, he like that, he like that.
This is the last year for LaFleur. Any foolishness this year, he just needs to be gone. Gutekunst did all he could in the draft to get all the necessary pieces to fill the voids on this team down to the kicker. There's no excuses for Matt LaFleur. It's either you show up or you get shipped out. There's nothing else to talk about. Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine are not starting NFL cornerbacks. You cannot win the Super Bowl, as I stated before the season started in the preseason. You cannot win a Super Bowl with Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine as your starting cornerbacks. They do not possess the mental IQ in order to do so. They're just not smart. Period. I'm not gonna
Right.
sugarcoat it. They're both dummies. They fall for the same stuff. Any wide receiver runs a double move on Valentine or Nixon, they're gonna be open. Both Nixon and Valentine, I would love to see their wonder look test. I would love to see their wonder look test. But this team did get some they did draft in the offensive line a couple offensive linemen. We've had issues with depth on the offensive linemen and people being hurt. So that's good. We're gonna put people back at their natural position. Quit getting cute with these players. Play if you play center, you're gonna play center. Focus on that. Be the best at that. All this flopping is between all these positions. No more of that. We need to simplify the process. Simplify and put people at their true position. Quit making people play out of position. That's first and foremost. And I also want to know what the base defense. Are we gonna play a 3-4? Are we gonna play a nickel? What is our base defense? Who's gonna be on the field? But those are all things that are gonna be addressed once preseason starts and all of that. But again, I do think we have the pieces. The problem is I don't trust this coach. I don't trust Matt LaFleur at all. I think Matt LaFleur is a scary mark, to be honest. Him
So,
being scared is the reason we haven't advanced further than we should have. It's due to him. I'm blaming him. You're calling the plays. You're telling them to be conservative. You're not telling them to bring the heat on defense. I'm blaming you. You're the coach. You get all the blame. Period. So to me, I don't care if he did get extended. If Matt LaFleur, if he flames out again this year, I want him out. He gone. He's gone. He's gone. We gonna get him up out of here, friends and family. We will get him up out of here.
the same way we got that out here.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. He don't. He. Yeah.
You, here's the thing.
Hold on. Was it? Hey Jeff. Hey Jeff. I'm telling you. I know, bro. Jeff. I know. I know. I know. It's been like
And
that
the other
forever on the
part,
low, Jeff. It's been like that forever on the low. I just can't say too much, Jeff. But yeah, hundred
I know.
percent. Go ahead.
Hey, can you get back to nature? This season is the time for them to right their wrong.
Yeah, agreed. So we gonna hope so.
Boy, if you messed up this season, you get, we are giving you a doctrine.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, we definitely get that doctrine. So appreciate you tapping in, Brandon.
No problem, no
Uh,
problem. Then we'll get back to nature and family friend. That one guy at a time. That walk this season at a time. I can't wait for this season to start. And that keep the thing rolling, y'all.
all right,
Salute.
bro. All right, see you
No
later,
problem.
Brandon. I see you
All
got the
right.
fresh haircut, looking like you should be a Channel 12 news anchor. I see. I see you, Brandon. All right, Brandon, go. Shout out to Brandon. All right, y'all. We gonna get up out of here. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Hey, this was funny as hell. This is a great live. We gotta start doing more Packers live. We be so in the trenches with this Bucks stuff. We gonna start to spread our knowledge. I see so many people in here so knowledgeable about NFL, about basketball. We gonna start broadening our horizons. and definitely start talking more Packers or more broadline general sports, especially with the Bucks being home early this year. So stay tuned in. We gonna keep going live. We gonna keep it cracking. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Let's keep it going, y'all. I'm Amber. This is Amber's Logic. Milwaukee. I said Milwaukee. Green Bay Packers trades, rumors, and news. We just got done talking about the Packers draft. Anticipation for this upcoming season. Tucker Kraft looking to come back healthy. And what's going to happen with this offensive line and defensive line in the trenches. Stay locked in, y'all. We're going to keep getting into it. You have reached the #1 Bucks and Packers community on YouTube. We get to it over here. We make things happen. If you didn't know, we move the needle around here. Gone.